I think what needs to be changed is the legislation. The Ministry of Labor favors the employer more than it favors the employee. He's allowed to literally steal out of our pockets because he found a loophole in the legislation. That's where it goes wrong. Hi, my name's Sean Watson. I'm from the Rainforest Cafe. I've been working here for 15 years. So the issue is we've been on strike since April 7th. We've been in a union now. We voted one in last year, and I'm on the bargaining committee as well. There's been zero progress except for some policies that we agreed to, but when it came to monetary stuff, it came to a direct halt. They had an okay contract on the table a week before we went on strike. We were ironing out the details, and literally they pulled it out from underneath our feet, and they put a not so great contract on the table. And we.
Sorry, I didn't mean. So when did they pull it out, and what did they pull out?
So it was a contract that we could live with, and everybody would be okay with it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but we also didn't want to go on strike as well. And then when they pulled that away and put a worse contract on the table that wasn't agreeable, we took a vote on it with all of our members, and it was declined, and we had to do some sort of a labor dispute because almost a year was up, so we could have been decertified. The employer is Union Buster. They haven't wanted the union ever since we voted them in. They've been trying to delay the process of bargaining and everything else, and here we are right now, 6 weeks deep into a strike, and there's still zero progress on the employer side. It's actually, we're trying to boycott the whole C&H Hotel. So it goes from Starbucks, Freshies, Hershey's, Hard Rock. It's all the same company, but I'm from Rainforest, but this employer owns all these places. So we're trying to boycott them so we can bring them back to the table and get a fair contract. I mean, both of us are losing here. He's lost over $1.5 million already since we've been out here in 6 weeks. I mean, we're losing money too by not working. We do get a little bit of strike pay, but it's not close to what we were making before. So it can vary, depends on, like, we have been getting some help from other unions donating donations to us and stuff, but we have to spread it out, especially for the people that are coming on the line, not so much for the people who haven't crossed the line, because we're putting the efforts in trying to boycott everything. We have to put in at least over 20 hours a week, and we only receive about $150, so it's not much.
What are the minimum conditions that you're looking for?
Well, last year when the minimum wage increased, they increased our tip out. The tip.
What is tip out?
So at the end of our shift, we have to tip out a certain percentage of our sales. We don't tip out on our tips, so there's not a percentage that they take from our tips. So if your bill is $100 before taxes, I'm paying off $4.50, regardless if you leave me a tip or not. So at the end of the day, you hope that everybody tips you over 4.5%. Otherwise, you're not going to make any money. Yeah, it's common at most places. Some places do you tip out on your tips. So there'd be a percentage that the employer would take off your tips, but here they get their money regardless if we get tipped or not.
So where does that money? Do they just keep it? Like, is it?
So it used to be 3.25%. Now it's kind of a little bit difficult. It's separated. So 1% would be on your food and beverage sales to the bar. You tip them out directly to the bartender. Then the 2.25% would go into a pool, but that was only on food sales. Now it's 4.5% on everything, like both food and beverage. So it literally doubled our tip out overnight last year. But it's the problem is a couple of these servers, They've made less than 4% on every table, and they've paid out of their own pocket to work that day. And we make minimum wage, less than minimum wage. We make $12.20 an hour, and the minimum wage is $14 because we depend on our tips. The minimum wage in Ontario is $14 an hour. It was about, I think, $11.75, and then it jumped up $2.25 last year, which was a big jump for employers. We understand that. But what's happening is the owner now increased our tip out from what I said before, and he's taking literally almost half that tip out and supplementing manager salaries with it. So, and we're not talking hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. He's pocketing and paying his managers with our money.
Tens of thousands, is that per year, per month?
Per year. So, like, to give you a number, as a full-time employee, I probably make the Mr. DiCienzo probably about $300,000 a year from selling food and beverages to the customers. I tip out over $10,000. That's a car. That's a car. That's a mortgage. You know, like that. Just at least a down payment for a mortgage, anyways.
Do you think that maybe education in terms of the industry practices is important?
I think what needs to be changed is the legislation. The Ministry of Labor favors the employer more than it favors the employee. We have no problems working hard for him and making money for him, but when he's allowed to literally steal out of our pockets because he found a loophole in the legislation, that's where it goes wrong. There's not even any transparency. We know it's going to the managers because we've seen pay stubs from our GM from before, so we know where it's going, but they don't show us. So we're handing money over blindly to these people that they could be using their own profits. Rainforest alone makes $11 million a year, so I can't even imagine what this whole complex makes.